stop. Not in a way that frightens you, in a way that asks for your full attention. Because something has shifted, and you can feel it. Not just in your sibling, not just in one conversation, one conflict, or one moment that finally brought everything into the open. Something deeper has surfaced, something that was always present beneath the words, beneath the behavior, beneath the version of events people kept repeating because it was easier than looking closer. And now people are beginning to see it. The same people who thought they understood the family dynamic. The same people who believed they had the whole picture. The same people who once moved through this situation with certainty are now slowing down, reassessing, recalibrating, quietly questioning what they thought they knew. That matters, because when truth rises slowly, it changes more than opinions. It changes perspective. It forces people to look back at old moments with new eyes. It makes them reconsider who was carrying what, who was reacting, who was absorbing, and who was seeing clearly all along. But you are not shocked by any of this. You are watching it unfold with a kind of quiet recognition. Because somewhere inside you, long before the truth became visible to everyone else, you already felt it. Maybe you could not explain it then. Maybe you did not have the language, the proof, or the support to say it out loud. But you knew something was off. You knew there was more happening than people were willing to admit. And that knowing is important. Because this is not just about what others are finding out now. It is about what your awareness was building in you, while everyone else was still trying to make the surface story make sense. That is what this is really about. When you grow up in an environment where one person dominates the emotional landscape, where everything seems to orbit around their behavior, their reactions, their instability, something begins to take shape, not just around you, but within you. At first, it's subtle, a shift in how you pay attention, a quiet awareness that something isn't quite right, even if no one is saying it out loud. And in environments like this, people tend to adapt in one of two ways. Some absorb the chaos and eventually reflect it, but others take a different path, one that is far less visible, yet far more transformative. They turn inward, not as an escape, not as avoidance, but as a form of understanding. They start asking questions no one else is asking. They begin noticing patterns that repeat beneath the surface. They sense emotional undercurrents that others overlook or deny. When the external environment becomes unpredictable, they begin building something internal, an inner compass, a way of navigating reality that doesn't rely on what's happening around them. In psychology, this is known as differentiation. It's the ability to develop a sense of self that isn't controlled, defined, or destabilized by the system around it. And this process is not easy. No one teaches you how to do it. It doesn't feel comfortable while it's happening. It is shaped slowly, under pressure, in moments that often go unnoticed. While everything around you was loud, reactive, and unstable, you became quieter, more observant, more aware. You learned to read what wasn't being said, to feel what wasn't being acknowledged, to understand what others were still trying to ignore. And over time, that awareness didn't just stay with you, it became you. Because this was never just about one person. It was a system, a pattern that existed long before you were old enough to name it. Family systems carry history, emotional residue passed down through generations, unresolved tension, unspoken pain, learned behaviors that repeat themselves without question. Your sibling became the most visible expression of that pattern. But you were navigating it from the inside, trying to remain steady in something that wasn't stable, trying to stay grounded in something that kept shifting, trying to make sense of something that didn't make sense. And that requires something most people never develop: internal stability without external support. You learned how to hold yourself together when the environment couldn't hold you. And that is not small. You didn't just endure what happened, you transformed it. There are 3 ways people tend to deal with emotional pain. They suppress it, they project it, or they process it. Suppression turns pain inward until it hardens. Projection pushes it outward, repeating the same damage onto others. But processing, true processing, is different. It requires you to sit with discomfort, to feel what you would rather avoid, to understand instead of react. That is what you did. You took something heavy, and instead of passing it forward, you changed it. This is what we call emotional transmutation, turning pain into awareness, confusion into clarity, experience into depth. And that process rewires you, not metaphorically, neurologically. You become someone who can tolerate discomfort without collapsing, someone who can observe instead of react, someone who can respond with intention instead of impulse. That version of you was built slowly, quietly, without recognition, but it is real. And now it's becoming visible. Not because you announced it, not because you explained it, but because the truth about your sibling created contrast, and contrast reveals everything. People are starting to notice what was always there: your consistency, your steadiness, your ability to remain calm when others couldn't. They may not understand it fully, they may not have the words for it, but they feel it. They are seeing someone who didn't break under pressure, someone who didn't become reactive even when it would have been justified, someone who held their ground, not loudly, but clearly. And that kind of presence cannot be faked. It is built. And here is where it becomes important to be honest. You were affected, deeply. This wasn't something you moved through untouched. You felt it. You carried it. You had moments where it was heavy, confusing, and exhausting. But instead of letting it define you, you used it to understand yourself. Instead of repeating the pattern, you questioned it. Instead of reacting, you reflected. And those small decisions, the ones no one saw, added up. They became structure. They became identity. They became you. So when people look at you now and say, "There's something different about you," they're right. But what they're seeing is not something that appeared overnight. It is something that was built in silence. Because patterns like this don't stop on their own. They continue, from one person to the next, from one generation to the next, until someone interrupts them. And interruption is not dramatic. It doesn't always look like confrontation. Sometimes it looks like restraint, clarity, choice. It looks like deciding not to repeat what was done to you. It looks like choosing awareness over reaction. It looks like holding something heavy and refusing to pass it on. That's what you did. Not perfectly, but consistently. And that changes the trajectory. Not just for you, but for everything connected to you. So what's happening now? This moment where everything is becoming visible. It's not just about your sibling being seen. It's about you being understood, even if only partially. It's about the system revealing itself. And more importantly, it's about you recognizing what you've become. Because this moment gives you something powerful: perspective. You can see the pattern clearly now. You are no longer inside it. And when you can see something clearly, you are no longer controlled by it. What you built is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is not dependent on anyone else's recognition. It is internal. It is structural. You developed the ability to stay grounded in complexity, to hold emotion without being overwhelmed by it, to understand without losing yourself. And that is rare. You are not defined by your environment. You are not limited by your past. You are not the pattern. You are the interruption. And that is not a small thing to be.